The Williams College Football Show is proudly underwritten by Hops and Vines.
Come on, ye sons of William, sing, as we march down the field. Cheer till the hills and valleys ring, with never a thought to yield. We'll back the team in every game, with them in every play. Fling out the purple hair, for once again comes William's day.
Hello and welcome to the Williams College Football Show. I'm your host, Kris Dufour. We're back for our 12th season, and this year we have a brand new head coach, Mark Raymond, coming to Williams from St. Lawrence University, where he spent the last 6 years. Coach, welcome to the show. Appreciate you taking the time to be on it.
Thanks, Kris. Happy to be here.
Great. So listen, you had a lot of success at St. Lawrence, especially the last 3 years, where you two-time conference coach of the year. You make the decision to come to Williams. So can we just talk about maybe what Williams, what you saw that was enticing to come?
Yeah, I mean, I've been a Division III football coach for a long time now, and I think Williams college football job has always been one of the premier jobs in coaching. It doesn't come open very often, and when it did, I talked to my wife, and we said we're going to take a crack at it. Not that we weren't happy where we were, because St. Lawrence is a great place.
Yeah, wonderful
We've had
place.
some great players and seasons there, but we just thought the opportunity at Williams had a lot to offer us as a family as well.
Now, you got hired in March, which was a little bit of a late start, I would think, in the coaching world. I know coaches would rather start in the day after the last season ended. But tell us about your time for the last 6 months, saying kind of what you've been working on, what you've seen, and what kind of impressions you're trying to make before the season begins.
Yeah, when I got here in March, I was very excited to meet the players, meet the team, and get to meet a lot of people in the campus community here. And I was very impressed with the group of men on this football team. They worked hard. They fought through some tough times, and you can tell they're really excited to get this 2016 season going. So on top of getting to know them and putting together a great staff, I think we accomplished a lot in those 6-7 months.
Let's talk about your staff, because we rarely get a chance to as the season goes on, and this is a great opportunity to kind of talk about who you put a nice staff together of people, I think a lot of them who've been associated with you prior to you coming here. Let's talk about your offensive coordinators, Tom.
Well, Alex Smith, our offensive
Alex
coordinator.
Smith, and then Tom Blumenauer.
Tom Blumenauer, yeah. So those guys are new guys on the offensive side of the ball, Tom and Alex. And Alex is our coordinator and quarterbacks coach. He and I worked together for 2 years at St. Lawrence, did a phenomenal job there. Tom comes to us from Bowdoin.
Right.
I actually recruited Tom out of high school. I coached him, and he worked with me at St. Lawrence. Now he's coaching our offensive line. Kyle Semesco.
The holdover.
Fortunate to have Kyle stay with us. He's doing the running backs, and another new face at wide receivers, Matt Nazarian, who was at Trinity the last couple of years. So I think we have a great offensive staff, and they've worked tremendously hard to really reshape the offense.
Now, I know you're kind of running the defense side of things, but who's working with you on that side of the ball?
Yeah, I have a couple of young guys who are doing a great job. Tom Foote, everybody's Williams is familiar with Tom. He's a former football player and wrestler here. He's currently an assistant wrestling coach, and through some transition, we were able to coax him into working with us this summer with the defensive line. And then 2 young men I worked with at St. Lawrence, Ramon Mignot, who coached with me last year, and then Leandre Simon, who was an All-American defensive back for us. So we have 3 young guys who are really hungry and working really hard for us.
What's the challenge? What do you think the biggest challenge have you had? I mean, there must be several. You can talk about more than one if you want, but what are the kind of challenges you face coming in and taking over a program like this?
Yeah, I mean, the challenge is getting to know your team, getting to know the players that are already there, trying to find out what their strengths are, and making sure we're doing all the things correctly to really show their strengths. I think that's the biggest thing, during training camp and as much as we can during the spring, just trying to identify where these guys should be playing and what they can do for this football team.
Now, you have, as you've gotten to know the kids, you have you have 7 guys who started on defense last year back, and I think 4 on offense.
Yep.
So there's a lot of competition out there for open jobs.
Absolutely.
That usually breeds some really good things. That's a positive thing, I think, right?
Yeah, we knew going into training camp we'd have a lot of competition, and especially at some key spots.
Sure.
So, and the guys knew that as well. This is a new system, both sides of the ball, some new coaches, some new techniques fundamentally to learn. So I'm very proud the way they've taken to that and have really competed for spots. And that competition will continue from now until the end of the season.
Now you have tri-captains this year, Michael Berry, who will be on the program later, and I think Chris Hatter is one,
yep.
and then
Eric Davis,
of
yep.
course, offensive line. What did you try to impress upon them, and how do you think they've kind of cherished that role or taken that role?
Yeah, leadership is very important in any organization, and especially on a football team. We need to have great leaders. The coaches and professors and administrators aren't there all the time, so it takes great leadership from within to really keep an organization going in the right direction. And those guys have provided it from the minute I got onto campus until now. They've done a great job. They're hardworking. They set great examples, and they're honest guys who just really want to see Williams football be great. And when you have those intentions, you have a great shot to do that.
Part of your summer, I think, was spent also kind of going from, I know at least Boston and New York City, making some trips, trying to get re-engage the alumni a little bit. Do you want to talk about how important the alumni are to the Williams College football program?
Yeah, I mean, going back to what makes Williams College football so attractive is that you want to go to a place where it's important and it means a lot to people, and that's certainly what Williams is all about. With the tradition and success this program has had, the alumni are very proud of it and want to be connected with it. So myself, Sean McGrath, and our athletic director, Lisa Mellendy, have kind of gotten out and about and really had some great times and conversations with alumni who just really want to be a part of Williams football and make sure it's in good hands. So that's been a great opportunity for myself, especially just to meet some new people.
Now, kickoff's 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon against Colby. Let's talk about our personnel a little bit. I mean, you had, I know we don't have a lot coming back on offense as we mentioned, but Connor Harris and Noah Sorrento kind of give us a nice 1-2 punch from the backfield. What kind of, I mean, the quarterback position was kind of open coming into camp. Have you made some decisions? I mean, you must have, right? 5 days out.
Well, it's always it's fluid, as they like to say. I think those guys, like I said, the quarterbacks have done a great job. They've studied hard. They've worked hard. They prepared coming in, and I think we'll just continue to evaluate through the week and obviously into the season with that. But I know whoever it is, or maybe a couple guys,
right?
That do a great
Whoever
job.
They are.
Yeah, but I think the running back position. Those Connor and Noah have done an outstanding job, and the offensive line is gelled.
Oh, good. And we have how many stars coming back on the O-line? We have Eric and.
Yeah, well, we kind of moved some guys around, right?
Okay.
So Tom Sofrino's is out there. He went from fullback
used to be fullback. Yeah,
right. Ben Wirtz is back as the starter.
Okay.
So him and Eric are probably those guys that have been around. But then you have, Ellis Eaton, Kent Blazer, Pat Loughlin. Those guys have really done a nice job.
Okay, good. And outside at the receiver position, of course, Darius Syme is gone, and I know Adam Riesenberg saw a little bit of time at wide receiver, but he might be doing some kicking this year.
Yeah, Adam's done a great job. He's a good athlete, right?
Yeah, he's an all-around athlete for sure.
Yeah, he's a good athlete. He's got a lot of different skills. He's playing some receiver for us. He's handling some kicking duties. Joe Volpe and J.J. Dunn, we moved out there, and John Dillon, and there's some depth there. We just need to find the right mix.
Okay, and on the defensive side of the ball, that's your specialty. We have Sam Gowen coming up on the program. He's a defensive lineman. Michael Berry, who will also be here, as a linebacker. Chris Hatter, I think, is still on the defensive side of the ball. He's a tri-captain. And like we said, we have kind of 7 guys who started last year.
Right.
So you have a little bit more depth there, I suppose, but it's still a jigsaw puzzle to put together.
Yeah, it is. We introduced a lot of new things to them, so it's not only about the physical, it's about getting the mental stuff down, and they've done a very good job of that. I'm very impressed with the way they've taken to the new style of play, the new systems. Chris and Sam and Mike, we hope to be a big part of the defense.
Okay. Well, that's going to be our first segment for the show. We appreciate you coming back and watching us. We're going to be right back with Sam Gowen and Michael Berry on the program. You're watching the Williams College Football Show. I'm your host, Kris Dufour. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to the Williams College Football Show. I'm your host, Kris Dufour. Joining us now, student-athletes Sam Gowen and Michael Berry. Welcome to the show, fellas.
How you doing?
Thank you, Kris.
All right, well, let's start with Michael Berry. He's a junior linebacker, number 8 on the field. If you get a chance to catch him this weekend against Colby. Tri-captain from Rockville, Maryland. English major with a concentration in justice and law. Tell us a little bit about your journey to Williams, how you got here, what your experience so far.
I came here from just Georgetown Prep High School in North Bethesda, Maryland. Looking for an opportunity to go to one of the best schools in the country and get to play some great football in the NESCAC. I came looking to just explore the liberal arts experience through the English major.
Tell us a little bit about the transition in the football program. Obviously you have a new coach. You're tri-captain now, so talk about as a player kind of leading the team through the transition and how you guys have progressed.
This year we're really focused on just being, more trusting of each other, having a better culture of accountability, and just being more resilient. Going forward, our motto is Williams Tough, which means, just no matter what happens, just trusting the guy next to you and playing for your family, which are your teammates.
Okay. Now, last summer, before you got back here for camp, you worked at a nonprofit called the Center for Community for Change.
Yes.
As a research fellow. Tell us a little bit
Yes.
about your experience there and what you were doing.
Well, I got connected to the internship through the ASIP grant here at Williams. So it was a nonprofit in Northwest DC, so not too far from home for me. And what I did there was I just did a lot of political research, looked up talking topics and data numbers that, kind of bolstered certain projects we were working on within the organization.
Now, you told me before we got on the air that your aspiration is to be a general counsel for an NFL team.
Yes.
So obviously you're thinking about a little bit of law school after Williams kind of thing. Is that your path right now?
Well, coming out of school, I want to probably work for a couple years, make sure that is the career path I want to take, and then kind of save up for law school, and then go to law school, get my degree.
How did you get that kind of kernel of inspiration in your brain to be a general counsel for an NFL team? Where'd that come from?
Both my parents are lawyers, so kind of the apple didn't fall far from the tree. And also, since I was probably 4 years old, I really love football and just the inner workings of football. And I've just been following not only the on the field stuff, but off the field stuff, and the workings of a team. So that's definitely something I want to do with my career.
All right, fantastic. Let's jump over to Sam Gowen, also a junior, a defensive lineman from Chadds Ford, Pennsylvania, double major, political economy and geosciences. Tell us a little bit about your journey to Williams and also how you came up with that double major.
So I found Williams because my older sister graduated here in 2013. And I was looking around at several NESCAC schools for football. I came from St. Andrew's School in Middletown, Delaware. And as far as choosing to double major in political economy and geosciences, that was an interesting journey. I started out, I knew I wanted to do political economy when I arrived at school. And then I didn't decide on double majoring in geosciences until midway through last year, after I took a few courses in the department, really enjoyed them and loved having the opportunity to do field work and learn more about how the planet around us works.
And you said you have a real interest in renewable energies.
Yes, I'm currently applied for a position with the Zilka Center on campus as an intern working with renewable energy.
Okay. And last summer you spent at Camp Pasquaney in New Hampshire. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what you were doing and that experience, because you were a camper there and now you're a counselor.
Well, along with being a dorm counselor and generally working with kids all day long, I was teaching woodworking daily, as well as leading some hiking trips and trail work trips up in the White Mountains.
Now, is woodworking a skill, kind of a hobby you've had for a while now, or is that something you developed recently?
It's something I'd say I've had for most of my life at this point. I have a wood shop that I work out of our garage in, and I've been making furniture for about 10 years now.
No kidding. Making furniture. Tell me your favorite piece of furniture to make.
I like making cabinets.
Yeah.
I think they're the best, and coffee tables are really enjoyable to make.
All right. Now, you mentioned some of your hobbies were skiing and fishing. Is that something that developed kind of living from Chad's Ford? Is that or was that just something your family did anyway?
The fishing was something I picked up from my dad. He loves to fly fish, and we go fishing a lot. And it's great being up here. I get the opportunity to go fish and ski on weekends throughout the year.
Awesome. All right, well, that's our second segment. We're going to be right back. Mark Raymond and I will take a look at Colby, our first week opponent, coming up Saturday at 1 o'clock. I want to thank Michael Berry and Sam Gowen for being on the program. You're watching the Williams College Football Show. I'm your host, Kris Dufour. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to the Williams College Football Show. I'm here with Coach Mark Raymond, our first program together, but our 12th season of Williams College Football Show here on WilliNet. So thank you to Debbie Dane and everyone, all the fine people at WilliNet that help us get this program on every year. Mark and I, we're going to take a look at Colby, because your first game is coming up. You must be excited because, like you said at the quarterback club, you're usually 4 games in by now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How are you holding back?
Well, it's been tough, but we've had a lot of work to do, so we've had plenty of time to get it done. So
it's probably been good first year probably to have that.
It has
extra
been,
time,
no question.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're taking a look at Colby. I think they finished 2-6 last year. They have some nice pieces back on offense. I mean, we have Jabari Hurdle Price. He's a preseason All-American. He was all NESCAC last year. He's a running back, but he also does their returns. He was their leading receiver, believe it or not, with 30 receptions. And he averaged 91 yards per game on the ground, 6 rushing touchdowns last year, and he led the conference in all-purpose yards per game with 153.8. So he's somebody I guess you got to load up on right away.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a good football player. They try to get him the ball in a lot of different ways. Obviously, in the return game, he's dangerous, carrying the football, and they like to get him out of the backfield on screens and swings, and they'll even split him out in empty packages. So we're going to have to know where he is and do our best to defend him. Now,
Colby hired a new offensive coordinator, Kevin Burgoyne,
Yep.
From the University of Maine. And you mentioned at the club that you guys have been trying to prepare by watching film of both Colby and Maine to see kind of what you can expect. First game's always got to be the toughest because you never really know what changes are going to be put in place.
Yeah, absolutely. I always say that the first game is more about ourselves, right? We got to obviously do the little things correctly. You got to take care of the football. You got to eliminate penalties, and you really just can't beat yourself. But obviously, in preparation for Colby, we're trying to get an idea of their talent, which they have a lot of, and a big picture of the personnel, and maybe some things they'll be doing on offense.
Now, they have a senior quarterback, and even though it hasn't translated into wins and losses on the field for them, anytime you have an experienced 3-year starter, Gabe Harrington, that's always a challenge because it's not, the guy has an idea of what he's doing. I mean, if the system's not totally different, then he probably has a good handle on it already. So what kind of challenges will that present to face a guy like him? Yeah,
experienced quarterback is always, it can be dangerous. And if you look at him athletically, he's a good athlete. With an outstanding arm, and he's tough because there's some times where he'll take some hits against pressure, and nothing seems to deter him. He's a really good football player that he can hurt you both running the ball and throwing it.
And of course, they have some experience at wide receiver as well with Mark Schneider, who was their second leading ball receiver, and then Alex Kramer, and even a sophomore named Sebastian Farrell, who had a good season. And that's dangerous. He obviously has some weapons. So the key is going to be how much pressure can we. I shouldn't tell you the key. Right. But I imagine putting pressure on the quarterback is going to be one of the things you guys.
Yeah, we always want to put the quarterback on the clock. We want to make sure he's not back there and able to go through his progressions and while guys get cut loose. So we like to put some pressure on them, but on the back end we got to be sound, we got to be smart, and they like to take shots deep. So we got to make sure we're staying over top of things.
Okay. And on defense, they have, I noticed they have a junior defensive back in Dickey, who led them in tackles with 43, or was their leading tackler returning anyway. And then they lost their two big sack guys, Ryan Ruiz, who was an all-NESCAC player, Henry Nicholas. They combined for 8 total sacks last year, but they do have Henry Walrap coming back.
Yep.
He had 2 sacks. He's a big guy on that defensive line. But you were talking, they're kind of a zone kind of team, but they do like to blitz on third down.
They are. Yeah, they're a very well-coached team, very fundamentally sound. They're strong up front. Both sides of the ball are strong, but they will pressure you, and they will come after the quarterback with some zero blitzes. But then again, they'll also play some zone. So we're just gonna have to try to uncover things and adjust well up front and protect.
All right. Well, at the quarterback club, I'm going to put you on the spot. You were kind of talking about some of the keys for the Eafs to come out, and what would you like to see? What do you think is most important? A few things that are most important when you play Saturday against Colby.
Yeah, I mean, MAs. We're always talking about MAs, which are missed assignments. You got to eliminate missed assignments. Everybody's going to be excited. Everybody's going to be ready to go. Everybody's going to be, at that anxiety level. But you got to pare it all down, and you got to do your job. And we always talk to our guys about doing your job. And that's doing your assignment on each given play. Never too high, never too low. If there's going to be some points in the game, or we give up something big or give up a play of some kind, you just got to stay within yourself and play with great effort and eliminate mistakes.
So no turnovers.
No turnovers.
You were talking about penalties. No, I like what you were saying about penalties. Nothing pre-snap.
Yeah, that's right.
And nothing post-whistle.
Absolutely.
Those are the ones that drive coaches crazy.
Absolutely. Those are ones that are completely under your control and can really derail you on both sides of the ball.
Okay. Well, Coach, we wish you well in your first endeavor this
Thanks,
Saturday.
Kris. Pleasure.
Appreciate your time for being on the program. You've been watching the Williams College Football Show. I really want to thank Mark Raymond for coming on the program. We're looking forward to a great 2016 season. Before we go, I want to gently and carefully and honestly thank Frank Ubel and John Allen, who have been part of this program for 8 to 10 years, giving scouting reports of our opposition each week. We will miss you guys, and we wish you well in your endeavors this fall, and hope to see you around the football field. Again, thank you so much for being part of this program. And as for that, don't forget, 1 o'clock Saturday down at Weston Field, or Farley Lamb Field, as it's called now. Don't miss it. 1 p.m. kickoff, Williams versus Colby. I'm your host, Kris Dufour. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.
Come all ye sons of William, sing, as we